Miss Natalie here. I wanted to make a short video about how to use the gradient tool to make a sphere in Krita. There are a couple of things that if you get them wrong, then your sphere just looks like a weird circle. So I wanted to make sure that you know how to not fall into those traps. The first one is to have the wrong gradient selection. So if you have gradient to transparent, or you choose a multicolor gradient, it's not going to give you a sphere. Well, let's just show. If we choose this gradient, that is here. That's a good one. All right. And then we make our selection and use our gradient tool inside. You see we get this weird thing that does not look like that, especially if we have a linear gradient instead of a radial gradient. That's another tool that you need to make sure you've got right. So you need to go to the tool options, make sure it's radial, but even with a radial, that's not going to look like, it looks cool, but it does not look like a sphere. So you have to make sure that you're choosing the foreground to background tool or option, sorry, foreground to background. Another thing you have to make sure is that your foreground color is lighter than your background. Let's do it where it's not. If we make our foreground color darker than our background, it kind of just looks like this weird circle with a dark dot on it. But if we switch those around, this might work, I'm not sure, then you've got, yeah, it looks like the light color is the highlight and the dark color is the shadow. So let's review that, shall we? Yes, let's. Okay, make sure that you have foreground to background gradient, that you have the radial under tool options, that you're using the radial shape, and make sure that your foreground color is lighter than your background color. Make it super light. All right, and then you should be able to use that gradient tool. Where you start is going to be your highlight, and where you end is going to be like the depth of the shadows. Bam! We've got a sphere. Okay, so hopefully that solves any issues you may have been having using that gradient tool to make a sphere. Go out and make some art.